files to download for today. We're going to just blow right through this. So I'm going to go ahead and make a new project. And again, I always do architectural template. And then we're going to assume that I'm starting this building from scratch, right? So I always start with kind of the structure idea of this. Generally, when I do a building, if I'm designing, I'm probably doing program masses. If you already know what your structural system is, then you're going to go ahead and go this way. So some things that we really didn't quite touch on are, one is this idea of a grid line. So grid lines in construction document sense are for the layout of structure. They're for column layouts and things like that, my beam layouts, everything else. So to make a grid, I want to make a gridded system here. So I'll take GR for grid. And what that's going to do is I want my grid bubbles to show at the bottom and the left. So where I click first, and then I'm going to drag that grid bubble ends up. And I want to make sure it goes straight. And then how I generally do this, one thing to note is that it's going to start off with 1. If I started out with A, it's going to then in succession make A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And then when I do it on the other side, I'll do 1, 2, 3. So anytime we do anything on construction documents, it's going to be on one bottom set, it's going to be letters, to top set, it's going to be numbers. We never ever do numbers with numbers, because then we can't find anything with it. All I do is when I want a detailed set of these, I don't want to copy a bunch of times, I just make an array, so it's AR on the keyboard. And I'll say I want I'm in millimeters, the units. So if you're like me and you just installed 2014, again, user interface, if I want to change my units, it's under manage, project units, change my units to be decimal feet, fractional feet and inches. And I'll usually set any construction tolerance in the architectural community, it's 1/8 of an inch. The carpenter's not going to be able to, unless he's a finished carpenter, be able to make a stud that meets a 32nd of an inch tolerance, so we do 1/8. I'll do square feet for that, and then cubic feet for that. All right, so then I'm going to copy it off. I'm going to make a 25 foot by 25 foot grid. So I'm going to do an array. I'm going to move it over 25 feet. And then there's this group and associate in my array. So what happens is, and you've probably seen this with levels too, is I get a grouping of those objects. And that's so that I can make that, I can change and fluctuate that set of grid lines. Well, in this case, I know how many I want, so I'm just going to deselect that button, and that gives me the opportunity to not have to do double the steps. Make 25 feet, and I want 10 of those, and then I'll say they're at 25 feet. Oh, array count must be an integer between 2 and 100. I did that. So that gave me 25 of them. So I want only 10 of them. So I'll take that again, AR, and I'm going to say my number is 10. I'm going to move it over 25 feet, 24 feet, whatever's close, doesn't matter. All right, and then I'm going to take my elevation tag here and move it outside so it doesn't disrupt my drawing pieces here. And then I want a set going in the opposite direction. So you've seen that they went A, B, C, D, E. I'll set another grid line, GR. Drag that over. Now, it continued my letter, right? So whatever my last letter was on that grid bubble, right? It's just a counter. If you've done any programming, all it is a counter in computer language. So I need to reset the counter to be now with 1. And I'll do another array. And I'll say I want, 5 of those at 20 feet. So there's my grid. And then, so structure's like really, really simple in Revit. I want to make some levels because we're going to build, structure up through this thing. And really we want columns to only go to levels. We're not going to take a column and make it 200 feet in the air, right? How are you going to get a truck that carries a 200-foot column? So I'll come into my elevation, right, and I'll make sure my grid levels come through there. I'll drag that up. So maybe my building, that's 13.5 feet. I'm going to do mine at every 10 feet. And then I'll do another array with that. You know, and I think for now, let's just do it. We might use it, we might not. I'm gonna copy them and do a multiple copy. So in case you had problems with that, another way to do multiple copies, just copy and then check multiple. And I'll copy those up. And then you'll see how these work is, right, if I grab a bubble, some of them that are tagged together will move together, if you haven't figured this out already. To get those to move with the other set, I need to get them tracking with the other ones. Right, so there's my grid in 3 dimensions, right? So I go to my floor plan level 1. So let's place some columns.